Hey there, it's Daryl Olson again, and welcome back to my fly tying and fly fishing or fishing adventures station channel. And if you're new, welcome, and if you're another returning subscriber, thanks for coming back. All right, we're gonna tie up I don't know, a craft fur mullet. And it'd be great for the springtime when we got the mullet back in here in Charleston. And it uses craft fur and some other fibers, some EP fibers, some sparkle, things like that. Anyway, let's take a look at it and we will get.
All right, this is the craft fur mullet pattern that I'm tying up for this spring. And you wanted to, you could probably put the eye from here somewhere in the here, but I usually like to put them on my thread right there because I feel like I get a better anchor point with that adhesive right there. And then I can encase with UV resin. All right, why don't we go ahead and I'll take that fly down and we will explain the tying materials as I go along. The hook I'm going to use is a Gamakatsu SL12S, 1x short, the size 1. And I'm going to go ahead and debarb. Debarb my hook. Now you can use white thread, but or maybe whatever color thread you want to use. But I'm going to use the mono thread by Danville. It's a little slippery. It's hard sometimes to use, but it kind of lets that color come through. And this is a fly of my creation. So I'm still trying to figure it out. I'm thinking maybe at a certain point here I will maybe try using a dubbing loop for the head area. But right now, it's what I'm doing. And then, so the first part that we're going to use is some craft fur in white. And what I did was I cut mine in little 1-inch squares on that. It's like if you're having some fishing buddies want to tie this thing, you can prep the material by doing that. And the 1-inch squares, you need at least 2 of them for a fly. On how I'm tying this. And then I can just cut that off right there. And then you can, I like to take out the under fur in there, and sometimes it's a little easier just to use a comb of some type to get it out. On there, so yeah. And then I'm going to make this tail about 2 hook lengths, roughly 2 hook lengths, and I'm just going to tie it right here. And I'm going to keep that tail on top of the hook by kind of lifting up a little bit like that and going forward. And I'm going to take my thread back up on top of here. My next material I'm going to use some of this EP Sparkle. And in this case, I'm using Blue Magic. And I'm just going to take a pinch of it because this is going to be my flash. And I'm just going to pull out just a little bit here because I'm going to fold it over. And I'm going to try to and it's pretty easy to break however you want to do it. And I'm going to just put that on there about the same length as that tail. And I'm just going to do a few wraps here, and I'm going to take it forward. And then I'm going to stretch it back over here and kind of lock that in. And then bring it back over right to that drop-off point. And that's my flash right there. Next I'm going to take another 1-inch square. 1-inch square here. And I'm going to trim that off in here. I use serrated scissors for most of this. And again, I'm going to pull out my fibers with my fingers to clean them out, or, you know, use a comb. That way it's not so thick. And this one here, I'm going to go maybe just about halfway, so I'm going to be cutting off quite a bit right here. Yeah, I'm going to peel that off. And I'm just going to give it a couple soft wraps right here. Light wraps. Now I'm going to take my finger and I'm going to just use this to form those fibers around the body of that fly. And we'll lock that in. That should be my tail and body. Next I'm going to do is I'm going to cut off, I don't know, you know, like a zonker strip off of some purple craft fur to use this for a collar. And I'm going to use one of these English style hackle pliers. To hackle around here. And then I'm going to lock that in. And turn this upside down so I can get my scissors in there just to trim that off, that excess there off in that. And that gives me my collar. And if you want, you can comb that out now, or you can comb it later, but I'll comb it a little bit now. Yeah. And then I'm going to use some black EP fibers. There's a little bit of red in there as well. I don't know if you can see that. And we're just going to take a pinch, not a lot. Just a little pinch like that. And then I'm going to fold it in half and cut it in half because that's enough for 2 flies. And then I'm going to cut off maybe about an inch. And this is going to be the back. And I'm going to kind of feather these out. This is like the back here, you know how fish have got a dark black top for protect them from the osprey or maybe predators above them. And we'll fold that back on here. And we'll build up a little bit here to get a transition going. Some soft wraps here so it doesn't bug up so much. And we'll whip finish. And I kind of bumped the camera and broke my thread. So I'm not sure what's going on with that. So I'm going to redo it. And give it some more whip finishing. Find my whip finish tool on my messy desk. And give it another one. And then I'm going to take this out and just brush it a little bit more. You know, make sure maybe the fibers are going where I want them on the bottom. And some of them fibers are a little long there. I'm gonna just kind of pinch and tear. I'm not cutting. I want to make it look ragged back there. That looks pretty good. We'll put it back in there. We'll put some eyes on it. Use some Zap-A-Gap. Oh, gotta find my eyes. Where'd my eyes go? And I usually try to pick these off and put them on my skin for now. And I'm using fluorescent yellow, 1/8, 3mm. And we'll take a little bit of Zap-A-Gap and place right back in here, about less than a drop. Another drop on this side. On there. We'll let that dry for a little bit. Next, I'm just going to put a little bit of UV thin on here. Get my needle out and help spread that a little bit. And we'll shoot that, put one coat on there, and then we'll do another coat. And we'll kind of get my needle again. Oh, sorry about that. Get my camera. Trying to pull that out of there. All right, there we have it. My EP mullet fly. I hope you enjoyed that. I had fun tying it.
Well, I hope you enjoyed that and tying these up. But you know, craft fur really probably doesn't look that great until you get them wet. And what this fly will look like in the water is right there. That's pretty slim looking thing. It's got a little weight, a lot of bulk on the front, a little bit less on the back, so it looks like it might be a good swimmer. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed tying that. Give it a try. It should work for even largemouth bass if you tie it whatever pattern or the species that you have in your area. And we'll let you know here. The next fly series that I'm going to do is going to be 2 of them. Unfortunately, they all seem to be hitting about the same time for me and my fishing adventures. So we're going to start off with on one night. I'm going to be doing 2 a week. I'm going to try to do that. One will be a series of 6 flies for panfish, because our Project Healing Waters group here in Charleston area is doing a sunfish challenge. You got to catch 10 species. They're throwing the black and white crappie into that mix to make it 10. Otherwise, it's just 8 different subspecies of sunfish. Bluegill, pumpkin seed, orange spotted or spotted sunfish, the flyer, things like that. And then of course they're going to challenge you with adding 2 of the black and white crappie in there. So some of the flies we might tie will be geared strictly to the crappie, and that'll be a kind of an interesting thing. Well, I'm going to tie 2 different patterns on that, and then the rest of them will be for a little brim or sunnies or whatever on there. And then the other fly will, during the same time period, which I'm going to try to release on Mondays, will be for a shad trip that I'm coming up. We're going to tie some shad flies that I haven't done before, and we'll have kind of like fun with that. All right, I hope you join me on those adventures, and I'm Daryl, and we will see you on the next fly tying video, or maybe fishing adventure. All right, we'll see you later.